Hi and welcome to the Monday Live. Sorry I'm a little bit late. All sorts of things going on, exciting times. We are defending against One No Trump still. That's bidding, I should say. And in the Fridays, of course, later in the week for the members, we have strong overcalling. So when you have a strong hand and you want to overcall. Lots of other things going on though. We've got the prize teams this week. We have got cruises and all sorts to talk about, as well as holidays overboard. Not overboard, that's not what I want to say after cruises, is it? Holidays overseas, but I'll mention those in a moment. We have our 5-year anniversary, our 5th year anniversary, and I have some prize winners. So let me show you them. Here we go. Bum, bum, bum. There we go. So I've got a list of them here because I can't read them on there. We have Susan Hanscom is the main top winner. So well done, Susan. You've got a holiday for 2, but we've got some lovely other. Trevor Darwin's won the year's subscription. So that's a lovely prize as well. That's about over £150 worth. So very nice. Judy Hill's got Q plus 15. Or the latest Q plus, I should say. I should check on that. I think it might have gone up by then, but yeah, the latest Q plus, which is great stuff. The hamper goes to Diana Nelson, and the £50 voucher to Maggie Tester. So well done to all of those. Fantastic. So hopefully everybody appreciates those. If you get your prizes, please do send pictures of yourself with them. Obviously that's less easy when you get software or when you get a year's voucher to the website. But if certainly if you're going on a bridge event, or you have got the hamper and that kind of thing, please do send in the photos so that we can make sure that everybody believes us that we are giving these gifts away. And of course, we've got our whole range of UK holidays that go from gourmet events, from country house events and things like that. Those are still going as normal, so please don't forget that. As well as, of course, our cruises, and lots of cruises going on. The usual range of them. There's a number of fly cruises that we're doing, but also just the normal cruise. I'm going to the Azores in July with the family. We are also going on 2 cruises next year, so do look out for those. Holidays abroad, of course, big changes are coming up. We are going to be dealing with those ourselves. Now, the bad news, obviously, I'm sure a lot of you know, is that Great Little Escapes is now not operating as a tour operator. So it has ceased to trade as a tour operator, which of course means that has affected some of the events that we do. So please, if you've got any questions, do ring our office and we will try to help you. We are doing the best that we can to deal with anything, and we, believe you me, we care. I know a lot of you assumed in the past that you were booking with us. It's something that I've not really come across that much, although when I was working with Mr. Bridge in the family business, etc., we did encounter a number of hiccups with companies, and we got through it. Takes a bit of time, a little bit stressful when it's going on, but once you get through it at the other end, it's an exciting time. So please bear with us with that. But if you've got any queries or questions, please do ring the office, and we will try our very best to solve those problems. Okay. So what else have I got? That seems that's taken the breath away from me. Yeah, so congratulations to all the winners. And I think we have the 5-level decision. We've got our little seminar on defending against No Trump, which for the most part, I'm going to look at the other defences you can do, because a number of people have sent in saying, oh, I prefer this. Of course, there are all sorts of choices, and I'll tell you why or why not I might prefer one to another. So first of all, the 5-level decision, the hangover, as it were. Some of you will have seen this on the Friday. Relatively, I think, a little bit easier one, this one. It's about time we had an easier one. So 3 hearts from your partner, non-vulnerable, against vulnerable opponents who jump to 4 spades. So 3 hearts from your partner, 4 spades from your opponent. opponent, and it's your choice of bid. We will revisit this after our seminar. So have a little think about that. So you're non-vulnerable against vulnerable. It goes 3 hearts, 4 spades by North. Okay. So what I wanted to go on to now is this little seminar. A couple of things. First of all, a couple of other bids that should be probably included in our defence against one no trump. And then we're going to look at some other defences. So the first thing to understand is that there are 2 other bids you can easily make against a one no trump opening bid, and they are 3-level bids. And what's important about 3-level bids is they are played as preemptive. Why? Well, because almost all strong hands, any hand that's 15, 16 plus, etc., should be doubling first for penalties, hoping to get a big penalty. After that, you can then bid your hand, and that would show strong hand. So a jump to 3 spades would show a classic preempt. One no trump, 3 spades really gets in the way of them, because although the weak no trump is quite an accurate description, it's not always obvious how to deal with something like a preempt of 3 spades. It takes all the conventions away, obviously, like 2 spades, but it really doesn't leave much room, does it? One no trump, 3 spades, when the opening bidder is relatively weak in the sense of shape, it can be difficult for now the next player to work out what to bid. So I like jumping to the 3 level with my 7-card suit and 7-card strong suit weak hand. And you can also play the 2 no trump overcall. So 1 no trump, 2 no trump. Remember, you don't need that as a natural bid. You can start with a double with a strong balanced hand, obviously over a weak no trump. So you can use the 2 no trumps to show both minors. Those of you who play the unusual 2 no trumps, very similar to that. You could, I suppose, be more aggressive and play at 5-4, but generally I would stick to 5-5 because that is what we like to do. And it's much more sound because you expect to have a fit. If you're 5-5, it takes away their systems, and that's what's useful. So if you're 5-5 in the minors, very often the responder would have been looking to bid Stamen or maybe a transfer. By bidding 2 no trumps, you really get in their way. So both of those are important parts of your defence to 1 no trump. And as I say, remember that all strong hands, so good 15s and more, should start with a penalty double. Okay, and it's important that even if you're distributional, it's important because if you overcall 2 spades, partner limits you at about 14 points. Okay, with 15 points in a decent suit, he would expect you to be doubling. So remember that, if partner's only got 10 points opposite your 14, no game on, no need to bid on. Okay, so it's important to start with a double. It can go wrong sometimes with hyper-distributional hands and they end up passing you out and maybe they scrape home. Very, very rare. When you've got a distributional hand, so will others. Usually there'll be a bid. Not only that, they might try to redouble and obviously you then get another bid, and that's the key. Okay, so the system I'm generally saying, I'm looking for simplicity and flexibility. The most simple for me is 2 clubs for the majors, so Landy. Okay, now what we're going to do now is, those of you who've done the big seminar at the end, I decided to go over some of the other options here. I'm going to repeat those here. So let's have a look. And well, first of all, let's look at the extra bid. So here it's got 1 no trump from South. Lovell, what do you want to bid? Well, the important thing for me is that 2 hearts should be a decent hand. Okay, a 2 heart overcall should be on a better hand than this. This hand is very much 3 hearts. Okay, very much 3 hearts. And it's a beautiful descriptive bid. Partner won't get excited, etc., etc. Okay, partner will not get excited. Just on someone just mentioning something there, remember, UK events and cruises and everything like that, completely normal. Do not worry. Do not worry. And hopefully don't worry too much in the future anyway. Okay. The atoll holder that has gone is nothing to do with us at all, other than we needed an atoll holder to run bridge holidays abroad. And hopefully soon we won't need that either because we will do it ourselves. Sorry to disturb. So 1 no trump, 3 hearts. Brilliant. Gets in the way. I'm not going to show you a full hand here on this one. What I'm going to do is just leave it with you, and the idea is that bearing in mind that 1 no trump isn't a particularly strong hand, this is good. Okay, And here is another one. One no trump. You would need to discuss with your partner the kind of strength you want to do for your two no trump bids. Okay, but here for me this is a classic two no trump bid. Partner, I've got both minors, let's compete. And it makes North's difficult, really, his next bid really difficult. Okay, really difficult, because he's maybe looking at 8-9 points with a major in his hand. Can't bid it anymore. Maybe he's got five in of major. Even if he's got an invitational hand with a major, it's difficult. Okay, it could go wrong for us. North could be sitting with 4 cards in both minors, but it's less likely, obviously. And so often they'll have a fit in a major, we'll have a fit in a minor. And as you know, if we've got a fit, it's always right for us to compete to the 3 level over the 2 level. Okay, much easier these bids when you're level. Vulnerable is a little bit trickier. Maybe throw a 9 or 10 in both of those suits instead. Ace, king, 10 to 5, queen, jack, 10 to 5, much more robust. But I'm still quite keen on competing on these 5-5 hands. Remember 5-5 though, I much prefer that. Okay, so what are these other defences I'm talking about? Well, you can use quite complicated systems against one no trump, and they'll come up more often. Now, obviously, if I'm only showing both majors with my landy bid and then 2 diamonds, 2 hearts and 2 spades are natural, they're not going to be anywhere near as common bids as if you can show spades in another suit, for example, or something like that, and hearts in another suit. You can have all sorts of varieties, which means you can bid. Now, you will bid a lot on these hands if you play those systems. They won't always get you brilliant results though, so bear that in mind, because a number of people have written in and said, oh, I prefer this because it comes up more often. What I asked him then to do was to look at the system and say, okay, yes, it comes up more often, but how much does it gain? How much does it doesn't? Having said that, I love playing conventions, and so the more they come up, the more fun in a way. But that's only if both of you agree. Really important that. Okay, if one of you enjoys convention and the other one doesn't really work. So what kind of things do I mean? Well, the Astro and the Aspro family, those are the ones that allow you to show 2 suited hands. I prefer, though, 2 hearts and 2 spades to be natural. So an Astro and Aspro work with that. Pinpoint bids don't. So any of you who've come across pinpoint Astro, it's easier in the sense it can be specific, but it means you do not have natural bids. And for me, 2 hearts and 2 spades as natural bids are important. Now, there are systems that incorporate it in a more complicated way. Not so keen on them, but we'll mention them. So the Astro and... So what have I done? Okay, the Astro and Aspro family, 2 clubs shows hearts in another suit and 2 diamonds shows spades in another suit. They are subtly different. So one of them will be so there's 3 different conventions, I should say: Astro, Aspro, and Asptro. Okay, so that's ASPTRO, which is a mixture of the 2. I used to prefer ASPTRO. So one of these, sometimes they'll show hearts in a minor and spades in another, and the variety of them depends on which bid can be used to show both majors. Okay, in Asptro you can use both 2 clubs and 2 diamonds to show both majors. They are nuancy, they are slightly tricky. But if you love them and as a partnership you like them, they come up a lot more often, clearly a lot more different. But each of those 3 have subtle differences. For me, Asptro gave me the best options, as it were. Okay, so what are the kind of hands? Well, this kind of hand, you see, if it goes 1 no trump, you really are borderline for a 2 heart natural bid here. Okay, so you may well choose to pass, particularly as you've got a decent opening lead, and passing may well get you a good score. Okay, so don't feel that you have to bid on these kind of hands. But if you were bidding and you had a convention like Asptro or something like that, you could bid 2 clubs, which would show hearts and another suit. You don't have to play this, but it's useful to know how they work. So it's quite a common type of system. 2 clubs says partner, I've got hearts and another suit. And the partner either bids hearts or bids 2 diamonds when he doesn't like hearts. Okay, so it shows hearts in another suit. Clearly it should be alerted, and it's quite a common family of bids. Okay, so for example, on this hand, their auction would go 2 clubs, and the 2 diamond bid does not show diamonds. It simply says, I do not like hearts. Let's play in your other suit. Quite often that will result in playing at the 3 level, which is not ideal. Here, of course, it will turn out that the West hand will pass 2 diamonds, because if you don't like hearts, the only other suit I've got is diamonds. So do not worry about the complications of this. It's not going to suit that many of you necessarily, but understanding how the various conventions work can be helpful, particularly if you play against a lot of people who play these kind of conventions, okay, because it's worth getting to understand it. Otherwise, every time it comes up, you get confused and you don't know how to bid against it. We looked at bidding against the opponent's conventions last week, or was it the week before? So it's quite important to be able to play against them. You've got to understand them. So here, for example, North may have a mediocre hand, but with spades, and might have chosen to compete with spades or something like that. Not that it would work brilliantly with the 4 spades there, but you understanding what the kind of hands that your opponents will have can be important. Understanding that they will make a bid, for example. We saw that if you've got 2 chances to bid, well, take them. Here, North can pass and then bid later if necessary. Okay, so my preference is always to have the 2 hearts and 2 spades as natural bids. I much prefer that. We are going to look at the odd conventions that don't have that. If you play the multi-landies or those kind of things, they have a bid that shows a long major, so it's okay. It's a little bit more too complicated for me. That's where the complication becomes a lot. However, if you play against the weak no trump a lot, then these bids come up a lot. So you can be prepared to have these complications. Okay, so 2 hearts and 2 spades is natural. I don't mind playing both 2 clubs and 2 diamonds as unnatural as if necessary, and we'll see. Okay, clearly Landy though is much less flexible than most systems. Okay, but I love the simplicity of it. 2 clubs, I've got both majors. 2 diamonds, I've got diamonds. 2 hearts, I've got hearts. 2 spades, I've got spades. Okay, so let's look at some others. Multi-landy, okay? Those of you who've played a multi-2 diamond opener or have come across it and understand it, you will then understand this. For a lot of you, this will be much too complicated, okay? It's a mixture of a 2 clubs and a 2 diamond bid, as 2 clubs is landy, 2 diamonds is multi, and means that 2 hearts and 2 spades show 2 suitors. Oh, so let me just define that. 2 clubs shows both majors, works very similar to Landy. Okay, so they're playing Landy, but they're also playing a 2 diamond bid to show 6 hearts or 6 spades. Okay, I do not recommend that in any way, shape or form to show 6 of any suit. It should be hearts or spades. If you've got 6 clubs or 6 diamonds, you can immediately bid 3 clubs or 3 diamonds over the opening bid. Does that make sense? So you shouldn't be using 2 diamonds to show length in any suit. It should be specifically a major. Okay, those of you who've played a multi, it's going to work very similar to a 2 diamond multi opening, and that's why it's called multi-landy. Okay, 2 hearts shows 5 hearts and a minor, and 2 spades shows 5 spades and a minor as well. It's important that they show 5 cards in the major. Okay, it can, these bids, you can see, you can show an extraordinary number of bids here. However, remember, they don't all, just because you're bidding doesn't mean you get good scores. So here, for example, if you end up at the 3 level, quite often you're probably a level too high. So when you bid 2 hearts showing 5 hearts and a minor, partner doesn't like your hearts, life is not so good. Non-vulnerable, maybe 3 clubs -1, -2 will be good anyway. But if you're vulnerable, it can be tricky. So again, these bids tend to be better to bid more when you're non-vulnerable. So 2 clubs works the same as Landy. Let me just show you an example of what would happen. Okay, so there's lots of options, but it's much more complicated. And remember, you've got opponents bidding as well. So bear that in mind as well. So you've why do I say unidentified long suit? Well, every so often you might be on lead and you don't know which suit partner's got, but for the most part, because it's gone 1 no trump first and then you've bid 2 diamonds, you're going to be on lead anyway. So it's not the end of the world, but it can be. Let me show you how it works if you want to see. Again, if you come across multis or multi-landy a lot, it's worth seeing it. So let's see it now. West wants to overcall 2 hearts, but they are playing multi-landy. So obviously in mine and your systems, we're just going to overcall 2 hearts here. Okay. If you play a multi-landy, you would bid your 2 diamond bid. Partner, I have a long major, please. Can you let me show it? And that's the key to the auction. Okay, so generally over it, if North passes, okay, East simply responds 2 hearts. Partner, I know you've got a long major. Pass if it's hearts. Correct to 2 spades if it's spades. Does that make sense? So East almost always bids 2 hearts. It does not show hearts. It is simply saying, partner, show me which major you've got. If West then bids 2 spades, you can see East would get quite excited. But no surprise in the end that it goes pass, pass, pass. Okay, so bid correctly, you'll end up in the same contract, although it will be played by East rather than West. Okay, which can be good or bad depending on how much information there is. Here, playing natural systems, it would go 1 no trump, 2 hearts overcall, and we'd finish in 2 hearts, nice and straightforwardly. Okay, so 1 no trump, 2 diamonds, partner, I've got a long major, 2 hearts. Would you want to play in hearts or spades? Can you see if I rotate those 2 suits, it would go 2 hearts and then 2 spades. Your American systems online, Cappelletti is something you'll come across. It's also called pottage over this part, in this part of the world, but online you see Cappelletti. It's exciting because it has 3 sets of double letters in, okay, which is pretty exciting. And if you're thinking about spelling it, just remember they're all doubles other than the C at the beginning. So C-A-P-P-E-L-L-E-T-T-I. I think he is an American gentleman. As I say, it's called pottage over here, which just has 1 double letter. Okay, named after our Julian. So 2 clubs shows any single suited hand. So, okay, any single suited hand. Okay, so not just the majors, could be diamonds, etc. 2 diamonds shows the majors, and 2 of the majors shows exactly the same as the previous one. Not so nice, this system, not so keen on it, because when you show the majors you can struggle to get in the best major because there's not a gap bid. Over landy, 2 clubs, you can bid 2 diamonds to say, partner, I've got equal length. Here you can't. You've got to simply choose. So when 2 diamonds shows the majors, you have to choose the one you want to play in. Does that make sense? So that's not quite ideal. 2 clubs does, though, allow you to overcall 2 diamonds as well, as it was. So 2 clubs, any single suited hand, partner can then bid 2 diamonds, and I'll either pass with diamonds or correct my suit. Okay, as I say, these are complicated, but it does mean they come up a lot. Okay, so we can look at an example here. I've given you an extra card. That's not ideal. Let me just quickly change that so that we don't get confused. I think it's the last thing. Let's just take a club away. Excuse me. Okay. All right. So 1 no trump from South, playing Cappelletti, or a number of other bids as well. You bid 2 hearts. So multi-landy would bid 2 hearts as well here. Partner, I've got 5 hearts and I've got a long minor as well. Okay, so 1 no trump, 2 hearts. This comes up a lot. In fact, you'll see John and Becky play opening 2s like this. Their opening 2s show 5 of the major and 5 of a minor, or 4 or more of a minor. Okay, so here it comes up a lot, allows you, but it won't always get you good scores. I think that's important to understand, but it will come up a lot. And it confuses the opponents, and I'm afraid to say that's quite often why you end up winning. So 2 hearts here. What happens with East when East doesn't like hearts? Well, he would bid 2 no trumps here to say, partner, I do not want to play in hearts. Okay, of course you have to alert that. It doesn't show a balanced hand or even a willingness to play in no trumps, although this hand might be willing to play in no trumps, but that's by the by. What 2 no trumps is saying is, partner, I do not want to play in your major. Okay, and of course then West can bid the minor. Okay, and so you finish in 3 diamonds, which on this occasion looks like a relatively decent contract. And as long as you've got a fit somewhere, it will work. You can see though with 5-4 hands, it's not quite as good. And I see a lot of people do bid on 5-4 hands, and getting to the 3 level on a 7 card fit is not as ideal. So you're lucky that I moved the 2 of clubs out of that hand with 14 cards rather than the 2 of diamonds, because it starts getting ugly once you're at the 3 level in not such a good fit, particularly if the opponents start deciding that it might be time to take a penalty. Okay, all right, so that would finish the auction, of course. So that's that on the defending to 1 no trump. All sorts of options. Do send in some hands. I'm going to do some example hands next week. That's how we will finish off the topic, as it will, as I like to. I've already had some lovely hands sent in. So, and we'll look at it. Successful or unsuccessful, I do not mind. It's just great seeing them in action from both sides of the table, because obviously the more the opponents come in, it can make our life more difficult as well. Vulnerability, also very interesting on those hands. Be a little bit careful vulnerable. In fact, it's not a bad tactic probably to play all of your 2 suited bids when vulnerable as 5-5. Okay, as opposed to when you're non-vulnerable, perhaps being able to be 5-4, and I would recommend that, because then if you're 5-5, you're unlucky not to have a good fit. And that's the premise that we have for our 2 suited overcalls as well. Okay. For me, I agree with Alan there that most of them are too complicated, but if you play with a regular partner and you play against the weak no trump a lot, it comes up a lot. So it can be worth investing in the same way as most of us play a relatively complicated system in response to 1 no trump. 2 clubs stamen, 2 diamonds transfer, 2 hearts transfer, 2 spades means something else, etc. etc. We do that because we know it's going to come up enough, and we will be able to practice, get it wrong, and know that we'll get it right, hopefully a week later. Get something wrong going for a Grand Slam, and the next time you get it right, you'll have forgotten about it again, as it were, or the next time it comes up, you may well have forgotten. So for me, if things come up enough, maybe I'm willing to stretch complication a little bit. But remember, it has to be both of you. That's really important. If only one of you wants to play a system, it will not work, because one of you will be willing it to come up and the other one will be desperate for it not to come up. Okay, so that's where finding the right partner. If you love conventions, find another partner who does as well, and you will have great fun, and you will not mind getting the -800s or the -500s, etc., because you'll be enjoying playing your system, and hopefully you'll be enjoying getting it better the next time. Okay, let's go back to the 5-level decision. 3 hearts, 4 spades. I hope this is a relatively straightforward one here. If you trust your partner, that is, or if your partner is trustworthy. First and foremost, when partner opens a 3-heart preempt, he shouldn't have 4 spades in his hand. And one of the reasons is because it will allow us to judge whether we should be sacrificing or not. Here, I've got a singleton spade, so I know my opponents have a 9-card spade fit at least. And that's key, because 4 spades might be a gamble from North. Maybe he's only got 6 spades, but it looks like he will have found support from partner. Of course, he could well have 7 or 8. That's another matter. Partner could have a load of rubbish, but should not have more than 1 or 1.5 defensive tricks. Quite often here, he'll have king, queen, jack to 7, and that's it. Well, one opponent has a singleton. We only make 1 trick. I'll throw a club trick in as well. I think we can say pretty confidently that 90% of the time 4 spades is making. Okay, 95% of the time I'm going to go for. It's going to make a lot of the time. And if I know it's going to make, then I can plan whether 5 hearts is going to be a decent sacrifice. What do we need for 5 hearts to be a good sacrifice? Well, we need just 8 tricks, and that is what's crucial here. You need just 8 tricks. Okay, so just to explain that, I'm assuming I'm getting doubled. 5 hearts doubled minus 3 is just 500 points. And the opponents, I think they're making 620. So bearing that in mind, if you give your partner king, queen, jack to 7 hearts and nothing else, surely there's a chance that you'll make a club trick. And if you're unlucky enough not to make a club trick, surely there's a chance you might get a spade off. Now, if your partner's got a singleton club and they lead a trump and then they lead another trump, you may end up having to settle for just 7 tricks. Okay, and they might only be able to make, let's say, 5 spades. So you will get a bad one. But you would feel that if your partner had a doubleton club, you'd end up making a club trip. If they don't lead a spade, if they don't lead a trump, you may well get a spade ruff. I mean, there will be times where you will actually make 5 hearts. Your partner could have a singleton diamond, and he could just, I mean, it's unlikely, but partner could have the ace of clubs and the king, queen to 7 hearts. He could be maximum for his bid, as it were. So bearing that in mind, everything for me says to bid 5 hearts. Okay, so we will bid 5 hearts. Whether the opponents bid 5 spades is another matter. Well, I've got sympathy with South there. South is looking at a completely flat hand, and so not unreasonably perhaps has doubled. Because on this particular hand, if they do bid to 5 spades, they get their 650 points, don't they? I think they're just going to lose 1 heart, and they may well make all of the tricks, just lose 1 heart. I think on a club lead, they can just draw trumps, and because of the queen, jack, 10 of diamonds, can discard the club loser. I don't think there's any reason to think that bidding 5 hearts here is going to help them find a slam if they were going to find it. I think South, it's not obvious for South to think that his queen, jack to 4 diamonds are going to be gold dust here. So I think with a flat hand, I've got sympathy with the double. How are we going to do in 5 hearts doubled? Well, I think we're always making 8 tricks. If they do find a trump lead, and then South leaps up with the jack of spades on the first spade lead, and leads another trump, then we will only make 8 tricks. Okay, we will make 1 club trick and 7 hearts, but that is still a victory. Remember, 5 hearts doubled minus 3 is still a victory. On perhaps a more normal spade lead or diamond lead, you hope, I suppose it could be ace of diamonds trump switch, actually. Maybe that's reasonable. If they lead the ace of diamonds and switch to trumps, then they'll keep us to 8 tricks. If they don't switch to trumps, West is able to throw, is able to ruff a spade. Yeah, so I think that's that. Hopefully a little bit easier. I don't know if you found that one there, but I do love a sacrifice there. It's funny playing contract like that. Sometimes people get, oh no, this is a nightmare, I'm going 3 off. But understanding that it's a good score is so important. 680 was available for North-South there. 500 is the difference. Now, should you be doing that at teams? I think so, yes. And the reason is because you might sometimes only go 2 off. So 300 against 680 is 380 gain. And actually, at teams, going for 800 is not such a disaster. 800 instead of 680 there would just be a difference of 120. So even if it went wrong, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Playing pairs, different matter. 800 clearly feels a bottom. Again, though, it turned out on the hand that they could have made a slam. But you can't really say, oh, well, we did all right because they can make a slam, because I don't think they were going to bid the slam. I think that's the key there. Anyway, I think we are finishing with the bidding quiz as usual. So South opens a club and you choose a 1 heart overcall, which looks normal. It goes past 1 no trump from your partner. Double. So a club, a heart overcall, pass, 1 no trump. Double. And it's your bid. What do you think? It's tricky, isn't it? So I'll leave that one to you. Again, you can see the answer on the website, whether you're a member or not. I think the key there is to try and work out what's in everybody's hand. Okay, and just take your time with it, and then hopefully work out what to bid. So good luck with that one. Some slightly more intricate bidding sequences there, which can be interesting. I mean, sometimes I generally pick bidding quizzes where the answer is more precise, as it were, rather than some of the hazy ones, which I may bring into another idea later on, where we might have a panel, shall we say, where the panel comes up with different answers, and then we have to work out which of the experts that we trust. Anyway, we'll see. That's another matter. So I hope you enjoyed today. A quick reminder of our prize winners there. Well done to all you. Well done to Susan, Trevor, Judy, Diana and Maggie. And thank you all for being in touch. And do keep being in touch, whether it's sending in hands, sending in messages, etc. We love to hear from you. Please also, if you do have any queries at all about the events abroad or any events with us, please do ring the office. We are building up our team, and we will be very pleased to talk to you and discuss things with you. So I hope you enjoyed today. And enjoy a little bit of cooler weather perhaps today, and see you again soon.